Hello, everybody. This is Dashing Knight here, and a very special Sun Pony is here accompanying me with this recording.
Hey everybody, it's Brad the Browncoat Brony here to assist Dashing Knight in this reading. The reading is... crap, I closed out of Internet Explorer. Damn it!
While he handles such technical difficulties, seems as though my tongue is twisted. Oh dear. Anyhow,
Okay,
the
alright.
story's called Chaotic Convenience, written by Chaotic Ace.
Who happens to be my girlfriend?
Yes, we're not shamelessly doing some publicity. Yes, we are. Yes, because Chaotic Ace is totally awesome with her writing. Okay, for those of you that haven't gotten a clue, go look your asses on freaking FimFiction because you love us and you listen to us.
Say hi to the audience, Ace. She's listening to us record.
Yes, she gets the honor and privilege. I know. I don't know if any of you fantasize about having such a thing of listening to me and other such beings record live, but she gets that privilege.
Yay! I love you guys.
Oh my gosh, she decided to grace us with her voice. Say hi to the fans.
Hello.
Yes, and that's Chaotic Ace. Alright,
Yep.
get back to me at the microphone now.
Sorry, honey.
I know. I like whipping people. Anyhow, of course that's not some weird, awkward fetish that anyone should write in their next FimFiction clop about. Yes, it is. Go ahead and do it. Yeah. Of course. Alrighty, so before I get this off topic any more than it already is, it's only been 2 minutes. It's a clop, of course. Mostly that's all Ace has been writing. That's fine with us. It's a Chord he type thing. Any more side notes, Brad?
I play Discord. That's it.
Yep, that's about it. I fill in as narration role and Chrysalis. Alrighty, so without further ado, everybody, we're gonna start. Chaotic Convenience by Chaotic Ace. Fluttershy looked over her cottage. The small Pegasus double and triple checked her bag. Her legs were trembling slightly from nerves. She was going to venture into the forest alone without any pony's help. Twilight and the others were busy and were counting on her to retrieve a special plant. She looked at the picture of the plant on the scroll. "I can do this," she mentally repeated, trying to give herself courage. The small pony narrowed her eyes in confidence. Her soft pink mane fell over her face, hiding her twitching lips. She would not let her nerves defeat her. Her friend was counting on her. A dark brown, snake-like body slithered around her.
My dear Fluttershy, are you going to be alright?
Discord asked, looking very concerned. He longed to put a talon under her trembling lip and comfort her properly. She was so meek and unsure of herself. The Master of Chaos resisted the urge and gazed down at the flower. It seemed familiar. The small green plant in the picture had a mysterious glow around it, one he couldn't quite put his finger on. "Of course I will," Fluttershy said boldly. She swallowed hard and turned to Discord. "I hope that you'll be able to manage things while I'm gone. I'm so sorry to trouble you like this."
Oh, it's nothing.
He snapped his fingers and appeared on the couch, sipping tea. The other animals stood around the table with blank stares on their faces. Angel chewed a carrot, eyeing Discord bitterly. "All right," the maternal mare said, and turned to all her wooden friends. "Behave yourselves, everyone. Please listen to Discord. I'll be back soon." She gave Angel a smile and turned to Discord again. "If there's any trouble, please don't hesitate to ask for help."
There won't be any trouble. I assure you, I have everything under control.
He mischievously narrowed his eyes at Angel for a moment, and then turned back sweetly to Fluttershy. The Jaquaniquus appeared in front of her, opening the front door.
Take care, dear Fluttershy, and please, come back soon.
She waved her hoof and happily trotted outside. She waited until she had enough distance between herself and the cottage to panic. The mirror looked down at the glowing green plant in the picture. It looked awfully grim for a potion. She took a deep breath and narrowed her eyes triumphantly. "I can do this. I can do this. I can do this!" The yellow pony continued to reassure herself as she trotted into the woods. There were many plants in the Everfree. Heavy vines hung from the ceiling, snakes slithered in the trees, and spiders scurried about. Mud and muck was thick beneath her hooves. Still, she continued resisting the urge to shake, longing to help her friend. Twilight and the others were counting on her. This was something only she could do. Her wings began to shake, and her pulse increased. Then suddenly a strange song filled her ears. Her ears began to hone in on the sound. Listening closely, it was almost as if the melody were calling her name. The eerie tune was also too sweet to resist. Fluttershy became entranced. Her eyes began to turn a strange green as she got closer to the sound. The tranquil mare's eyes grew wide. In the middle of the garden, she saw the glowing green flower. It was both mysterious and glorious. Oddly, the flower seemed darker than in the picture. The stem was black and rigid. The leaves had holes in them. The flower was crowned with vibrant emerald petals. Fluttershy tried to resist going toward it, sensing danger, but her hooves drew her closer. Her body was moving on its own. Her nose touched the petals at last. A green orb appeared around her. Her eyes were still green as she laid down, nuzzling the flower. She was in a peaceful daze. Smirking at her latest success, Queen Chrysalis appeared, grinning. Her fangs extended from her mouth as she watched the pony drift into sweet dreams. She was about to turn the little Pegasus's world into an everlasting nightmare. The least she could do was allow her to sleep in peace. She took in every detail on the little mare's body. The changeling queen closed her own eyes and began to shift her body into that of the poor ponies. She opened her eyes and made an innocent face. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." Fluttershy's face held a wicked expression as she spread her wings. It was time to return to the cottage so the real fun could begin. Soft yellow feathers landed on top of the dome the real Fluttershy lay contained in. She caught a glimpse of them, but was still too lost to comprehend the situation. She instead continued to gaze lifelessly at the flower, happy to dream. The fake Fluttershy appeared at the doorway to the cottage. She looked into the window timidly, watching her prize. Discord was inside. The Master of Chaos was stooping to making scary faces at a rabbit. Rolling her eyes, she slowly poked her head into the cabin. "Hello, little guys. I hope that I wasn't interrupting anything."
Back so soon, Fluttershy?
Discord looked relieved to see the beautiful mare returning to safety.
Were you able to find everything okay?
"I'm afraid not." The mare sighed and put her head down. Her ears, wings, and head drooped. She wrapped her light pink tail around herself, comfortingly. "I was hoping to find a flower, but unfortunately somebody was pulling a prank on me. The flower doesn't exist."
It doesn't?
Discord didn't look too surprised. He slithered over and put his paw on her shoulder. Talons gently stroked her other shoulder comfortingly.
What pony would pull such a devious prank? Don't worry, Fluttershy. I'll find them, and I'll...
"It's all right." She looked over her shoulder. "I'm sure they didn't mean any harm." She gave him a sheepish smile. "Maybe some pony just wanted to have a little fun with me to see if I was brave enough to do it. I'm glad I went. It was my first time alone in a while. I've gotten stronger and braver. I almost feel brave enough to... Her blue eyes gazed into his blood-red ones. Her cheeks flushed, and she looked away modestly. Maybe not,
To do what?
asked Discord curiously. He had a hopeful look in his eyes as he gazed down at her. The mare couldn't help sensing that his heart rate had increased. She decided to give him an early encouraging reward by leaning her head on his talons and nuzzling. She gazed up at him, judging his reaction. His talons cupped her cheek softly. His huge paw was gently stroking her mane. They looked into one another's eyes. The two instinctively began to move closer. Fluttershy timidly drew back for a few moments as their lips neared inches apart. Her eyes were closed as she braced herself for the next step. Discord's lips met hers, gently. He pulled away to now judge her reaction. The last thing he wanted to do was to make her uncomfortable. The Pegasus looked up at him gently and boldly pressed her lips to his again. Discord's forked tongue licked the outside of her lips. He held his talons outward and snapped his claws. The animals vanished from around them and reappeared outside in the grass, staring at one another in confusion. Discord's feelings were welling to the brink. He entrapped them so long, not wanting to hurt Fluttershy. The furniture began to whirl around them. As he got more excited, he was trying to keep his focus on anything other than his growing erection. Their tongues danced, her body pressed up against his. Her hips bucked as she felt the erection growing against her leg. The mare pulled away with a smirk. Her eyes glowed green as she stared into his. His own pupils shrunk. The yellow of his eyes began to grow a green hue. His body grew limp, and the furniture stopped spinning.
Fluttershy?
He asked, stuttering slightly with unusual timidity.
Fluttershy?
He repeated, confused. The images in his head began to blur and become contorted. The Master of Chaos was losing grip on his intentions. Soon the other ponies came into mind as he tried to fight the Queen's spell. Their faces were beginning to get contorted too.
Fluttershy?
This time his voice sounded sad as he tried to remember his only friend's face. His eyes refocused on the black insectoid before him. Her eyes were glowing. Her horn had a green tint to it as well. Where had he seen this before?
My dear... Shutterfly?
He squinted, unable to make sense of the images in his mind. Everything was fading away. Chrysalis, the changeling queen corrected. You belong to me now. Submit. Her hooves dug into his fur and scales, causing rough pleasure in his coils. She could never fully do it for you. You're wasting your potential, you silly mares. I am the only one you want. I am the only one you need. Her hooves continued roaming Discord's body, her tongue teasing his flesh. The Queen's eyes narrowed deviously as she continued to pleasure him. Discord's mind was becoming clearer. His eyes rolled back in his head as he began to fully submit to the Queen's control.
Oh, yes.
He moaned. Suddenly, an image of Fluttershy's blue eyes appeared in his head.
No.
He said weakly. He began to try and fight her off again. He went to snap his talons to teleport. Chrysalis quickly began to suck on his claw, working it deep into her mouth, bobbing her head back and forth, treating each talon as if it were a miniature penis. She smirked at watching his body tremble with pleasure. His erection was at its peak. It dug into her chitin and began twitching, leaving a sticky trail of pre-cum in its wake. I can help with that, purred the Queen, and wrapped her lips eagerly around the head of his cock. Her tongue worked the bottom of his shaft, while her fangs teasingly grazed the top. Discord's toes began to curl as Chrysalis sucked him off. With the images of cares wiped from his mind, Chaos finally submitted. He ran his talons through the queen's decayed mane and encouraged her to move her head more.
Just like that, sweetie.
Seeing him fully submit made her grin. She removed his cock from her mouth, hearing a whimper escape his throat in response. Her tail coiled, and she used it like a whip against his side. "I've never been much forgiving," she said curtly, watching the green glow in his eyes increase as she spread her legs, revealing a beautiful shimmer of pink between her black lips. "Eat me," she demanded. "If you do it well, I might just give you a reward,"
My pleasure,
replied Discord eagerly. He leaned his head down, allowing his tongue to slide across her pussy lips. Already able to taste her love juice, his tongue began to slither around her clit, wrapping around it slightly. Then another tongue appeared, and worked on the outside of her pussy, and her equally moist in her thighs. The queen eagerly leaned into him, forcing a new secondary tongue inside. "Yes, more," she demanded. "Show me that you know how to do something right, you fool." Discord's tongue slithered inside of her, lengthening to cover all of her moist, sensitive areas. Chrysalis held her head back and began to thrust against his mouth instinctively. "Oh, yes. There. Don't you dare stop until I come," she cried. Discord complied, allowing his tongues to work her inside and out. They got wider to surface all her crevices, as he slithered them all over her walls. He sunk his talons deeper into her flesh as his tongues contracted, and shimmering green fluid gushed out of the ecstatic queen's nethers.
Feel better?
He asked finally. You have no idea," she panted. "Now that you've been such a good buffoon, I'll give you that reward." She used her hooves to splay her tight cunt open. You can come inside me." The Lord of Chaos complied by slowly inserting himself into her. He felt the warm, white walls contract around him like a glove. He moaned while thrusting inside of her.
Is there anything else I can do to please you?
Chrysalis thought for a minute, while calmly allowing him to pound her pussy. She held up her foreleg, allowed his tongue to slip through the holes, decayed through the limb. Grinning wickedly, she forced his tongue to catch in the hole and jerked his head downwards. She sank her fangs into his neck and began to suck like a true vampony, leaving a nice, dark mark. Discord's eyes rolled into his skull as he felt the pain in his left shoulder. Her hooves raked across his back with the force of small knives cutting into him. Blood began to trickle down his back. "Admit it, this is much more pleasurable than anything the light has to offer you," she whispered into his ear before giving it a hard bite and tugging at it.
Yes, my queen. Of course.
Discord moaned. He began to pound his rod faster, unable to control himself, making her cunt wide enough for him to slide even his balls in. The warm fluids, the contracting muscles felt wonderful surrounding his sack. He couldn't contain himself any longer. He poured out, filling her tight hole to the brim with the rich seed of chaos. Discord collapsed against her and panted softly. He barely cared that his eyes were still glowing green. He was fully under her spell. Nobody would be able to break her curse. Smirking, Chrysalis ran her hooves through his mane. "Very good, slave. That's all for today. Well, all in here at least." She forced herself upwards. Discord slithered eerily behind her. The two made their way through the woods towards the Crystal Empire. passing a small yellow mare still staring lifelessly at a flower. Discord stopped for a moment. The green glow faded for a split second. "What's stalling?" Chrysalis demanded. "Equestria waits." Discord kept following, leaving the dazed Pegasus behind. He felt deader by the second. His own looming feeling of dread would soon spread across the land. With chaos in the hooves of the changeling queen, all of Equestria was surely doomed. The end. So yeah, everybody, that was the story. Hope you liked it. Hope it wasn't too short. Ah, heck, it's fun.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I'm sure it was a lot of fun for Ace, who was listening to the whole thing, because my Discord and her Chrysalis really turned her on. So we're
Brad! Brad, no! Brad!
That's getting edited out. Shut up. Oh, and now we have, again, special incoming opinion from the author herself. Feel free to say some words, Ace.
That was epic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who turned you on more?
Brad! Brad!
No. Anyway. No, really, Ace. Out of curiosity. Did you find this fic sexily read? Was it sexy enough for you, out of an opinion, as an offer?
I want to go take my boyfriend and have some alone time.
By the author herself.
Then there you have it. It was approved. Yeah, so all you guys that don't care or don't really like it, you guys can suck it! Okay, staratezzo. And, I think that's it for tonight, guys. It's been fun.
Bye, guys.
Bye!
Ciao, everybody.